Thanks for tuning in to Playbook ATS podcast for another Friday, the 15th of May, 2026. I'm your host, Greg DePalma, being joined once again by our resident handicappers, Jim Feist and Andy Isco. How's it going, gentlemen?
Pretty good. I'm ready to bet some football, but Greg just told me there's no games.
No games, just futures. That's all.
I'm doing very well because with the schedule released last night, that's like the last piece of my puzzle before really getting into preparing for the season. Now that we know there are some unusual things about the schedule. The Cleveland Browns have 5 straight weeks where they're either at home or on a bye in November, which is somewhat unusual.
Will that help them because they don't know what the hell they're doing?
You would think it would help them because they don't have distractions of travel or anything, but it's certainly odd. And you take a look at some of the schedules, I'm sure we'll get a chance to, but the one that comes to mind to me right now is the Cincinnati Bengals. Of their 17 games, only 5 games are against teams that made the playoffs last year. 12 of them are against teams that missed the playoffs, including a division rival Baltimore, who they played twice. So Cincinnati might be a team to keep an eye on.
The rankings of the schedule are here. These are based on the win-loss percentages last year.
Yeah.
Cleveland, Saints, and then the Bengals are third as far as win percentage. Other competitive teams expected to be this season, you've got Detroit 6th, Houston 7th, Baltimore 9th, and the Eagles are 10th. So the top 10, as far as the easiest schedules based on win percentage from last year. And the hardest,
the Bears.
Chicago Bears, and then other competitive teams. You got the Packers, the Chiefs, the Patriots are going to go from the easiest schedule to the 27th toughest, or the 27th easiest, whatever way you want to say it, or the 6th toughest.
6th toughest, yes.
Bills are also in the top 10, Chargers as well. So
one thing to keep about this, and people don't realize it, and Greg, you pointed out at the very start, which is correct, that these are based on last year's win-loss percentages. However, what I like to do, and what a lot of other handicappers and bettors do, is they use the current season win-loss over-under numbers as a measure of the strength of difficulty, because you're not playing the teams from last year, you're playing the teams this year, and the best thing that we have as an indicator is where money is being wagered on teams falling short of or going over projected win total. So, for example, you had a team last year, let's say, I'll use the Raiders as an example, who were 3-13 or 2-15, 3-14 or 2-15. Their schedule should be based more, or when people play the Raiders now, it shouldn't be, their strength of schedule shouldn't include the Raiders as what, like I said, 2-15, 3-14, whatever it was, but rather whatever their season win total is for this year, which I think is around 5.5. And when you do that, you get a somewhat different, not radically different, but significantly different strength of schedule when you use this season's projections for determining this season's strength of schedule.
Well, perfect example, though, also, Andy, would be the Patriots.
Yeah.
The easiest schedule last year got them to the Super Bowl, and obviously that easy schedule didn't work very well for them at that point, and now they're going to a very tough schedule. And, of course, there's some side issues with their coach, but be that as it may, that's not going to – looking at last year's win total is not going to work. What is the over and under on the win total for the Patriots?
I believe – no, you know what? I'm not sure. I thought I saw 10 or 10.5.
Okay.
Where is it there?
Of course, you got the Patriots, you got the Jets, you got the Miami issue in there.
10.5. You just had it up there, Greg. They've got it laddered so that you can play one of the ones. But there it is, over 10.5. But I think if you go up, it's the one that you showed for New England is, I think, the generally prevalent one.
Yeah, well. Again, that's.
I guess you here they let you play like Circuit does, only to a greater extent here. You can go. You want to play over 8.5 with the Patriots. You got to lay -250.
And some other interesting notes: the Niners, they have to travel the most, so they've got that Australian trip, of course, that skews the miles. But still, if you look at it, they are going to be projecting a league high 38,105 miles this season. That's over 3,000 more miles than the second place Rams and over 9,000 more than the third place Texans. So that's a lot of travel.
I wonder where Seattle falls, because Seattle is usually the team that travels the most, especially when they have to play East Coast games coming from the Northwest. Now, you could say, well, what about the Rams and the 49ers? Well, keep in mind that they play two of those games that are very close to each other. Seattle, I don't know if there's a franchise within, 500 miles of Seattle.
And then if you look at it, the Patriots, the Chargers, and Miami, you can see them here. The Chargers 24th, Patriots 27th, and Miami 31st, are the only three teams ranked in both they rank both in the top 10 of projected travel miles and strength of schedule.
Mm-hmm.
So the Patriots travel the fifth most miles and play the sixth toughest schedule. The Chargers travel the seventh most and play the ninth toughest. The Dolphins travel the sixth most and play the second toughest. So you definitely have to throw that into the equation of how that might hurt. Well, of course, the Miami Dolphins are not going to the playoffs. They would need everything to go their way for even to sniff the playoffs this season. And, of course, we know the Patriots and the Chargers are Super Bowl contenders. So that's interesting to keep an eye on that. There's only three teams with 3-game road trips. That would be Kansas City, Jacksonville, and Cleveland. And when
now, by the way, in the Jacksonville, I'm assuming that one of it includes the 2 games back-to-back in London as part of the 3-game road trip? Or is it somewhere else?
I would guess so. Yeah, that would make sense. It's definitely not home. So, yeah, I would guess so. I mean, I don't know. I mean, when do they play? It all depends. Do they play home the week before or the week after?
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. I'm thinking that they might.
They probably wouldn't travel. They'd just stay there.
Well, no, they're definitely staying in London for the second game, and that's going to be a huge advantage for them. And that's another thing I hate.
Yeah,
about what the NFL
they're not
does.
counting it.
Yeah, that the NFL. I don't like international games to begin with, but I'm okay with them. I don't like the fact that there are divisional games involved. So, for example, in other words, Jacksonville gives up a home game to face Houston in the second of their back-to-back London games. So, effectively, Jacksonville has 2 divisional home games and 4 divisional games away from home. Houston has 3 divisional road games, but one of them is a neutral site game, and they've got 3 home games, as does Indianapolis and Tennessee. I would like to see the NFL not penalize, because division games are the most important. I do not like it that the NFL takes away a home game from a divisional contest.
I totally agree, Andy. That's really they're not thinking very well.
In fact, what they should do.
Yeah, but I don't think they're allowed to do that. They have to the owners of the teams have to okay this.
Yeah.
They're okaying it.
With a gun to their head, of course.
Yeah, probably.
Well, I mean, not the Jacksonville Jags. The Jags are happy to go out and play in international games.
London's their team. So they're London's team. Like 10 or 11 games they've played there over the last decade or so.
So that's something that, matter of fact, the Jags considered the 3 actual road games in a row are going to be Baltimore, Tennessee, and the Giants, week 9 to week 11. So they're going to play those 3 on the road. They're going to play those international games you talked about, and then they'll be playing the 2 home games overseas.
Yeah,
and that only gives them the 6 games at home this season. So how about that? And he also closed the season with 4 out of 6 on the road.
Oh, yeah.
So Jacksonville's got a pretty tough road to hoe.
They really,
at least they've got the 11th easiest schedule.
They really screwed them over.
Yeah. One thing we talked about.
But again,
the other day,
they okayed these trips internationally. So it's their decision.
There must have been some incentive for that, because it's
sure.
Well, Roger Goodell, cut the bullshit out about you do things for the fans. How about the fans of Jacksonville who give up 2 home games and can't see their team, especially now that after last year they showed that they're a playoff contender. So shut up with this. We're doing things for the fans. You're doing things for your pockets.
Yeah, nobody listens to that moron. That's for sure.
Well, apparently some of those owners did because they agreed to what we just talked about.
Well, that's why he's a moron. He's a lackey for the owners. That's all he is.
One of the things we talked about, I think it was the show that the three of us did on Tuesday, was the Rams at 8-1 to win the Super Bowl. And we talked about the start of the season for the Rams and that maybe you want them to have a tough early season schedule, which they do. Okay, so that maybe the Rams realistically could start 2-3. What, they have the game in Australia against San Francisco, then they come home back to the States and fly across to play the Giants at the Giants in week 2. I think that's a Monday night game, so it is a little bit of a extra rest for them coming back from Australia. And then I forget who they play in week 3, 4, and 5. I think the Bills are there, the Broncos, and there's another playoff team from last year. So the Rams start with 5 games, 4 of which are against playoff teams from last year. So if you like the Rams to win the Super Bowl and you don't like that 8-1, maybe it goes up. If the Rams start 2-3 after 5 weeks, maybe they're 12 or 15-1.
You would definitely be better off waiting and playing it after the 4th or 5th game.
Yeah.
And of course, the week 1 primetime games are all set. So they're going to be starting. Usually it's Thursday. That's what the defending Super Bowl champs get the home game. Well, they're actually going to be starting now on Wednesday. So it'll be Seattle hosting the New England Patriots in a rematch of the Super Bowl in week 1 on Wednesday. And then the very next day would be the Australian trip on Thursday between San Francisco and the Rams. And then on Sunday, you got the Giants and the Cowboys. And on Monday, you got the Chiefs and the Broncos.
Yeah, some good games there. Can we bet now?
Yes, you can.
Yes, as a matter of fact, you can. Yeah, there are lines. I was thinking about the Patriots and Seattle. Forget about the Vrabel situation. I can understand rematches of the Super Bowl when the Super Bowl was competitive. You know, okay, like I think the first time when, remember the Marshawn Lynch thing with Seattle and Pete Carroll, and they ended up losing to the Patriots. I think they opened the season against each other the next year, which is great. You want to see a rematch. Kansas City, San Francisco, the overtime game. I don't know if they open the season, but you know, if now, of course, you have to have the schedules such that you have the right division playing the same division from the Super Bowl. It happens to work this year because they do play. I think the other teams in the AFC East, Seattle. I think that's the case, unless New England is the 17th game that they added to the schedule. I'd much rather prefer to see a rematch, let's see, of, if they wanted to have a great season opening game, why not a rematch between Seattle and the Rams, who played 3 really good games last year, including the NFC Championship game. And what does the NFL do? We got to wait till week 16 for Seattle and the Rams to meet for the first time. They play in 16 and 18.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, and 18.
And 18 is done. Why would you do that on 18? You're going to say the same thing I think I was, Jim.
Yeah, those kind of games, those games sometimes don't matter at all.
Yes,
because they've already been set where they're supposed to be, and that's a terrible idea.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, the thought is that last year it came down to, I think, all 3 teams' fate being determined in week 18 between Seattle, the Rams, and the 49ers.
And
it may be unrealistic to think it 2 years in a row it'll work out.
Yeah,
that's true. Yes.
It'll probably only be it could be for home field, but that's not even. Some guys just might decide to sit their players anyway. There's the line: Seattle 3.5 over the Patriots, Rams 2.5 over San Francisco in Australia, and here's the other week 1 games: Detroit and the Saints.
Big number. That's a big number for. And going against what appears to be an improved Saints team this year.
Chicago and Carolina. That would be a really good game.
Yeah.
Carolina should be a lot better after making the playoffs last year. In Chicago, the same thing. No. So that'd be a good one.
Well, Chicago's a little bit more legit to the extent that they played in a much more difficult division. Carolina won the division, the NFC South on tiebreakers, and did so with an 8-9 record. But I do believe they're improved this year.
Baltimore and the Colts. That sounds
that's the old time, yeah.
Buffalo and Houston. That's a good week 1 matchup.
Buffalo has struggled at Houston the last few years.
Well, let me ask you a question about this one. What is the story? What is happening? What do we hear about C.J. Stroud? I mean, the last time we saw him,
Nothing.
Nothing.
Yeah.
We hear
Nothing.
Yeah.
He's the man. He's still their guy.
I heard some analysis the other day that from an ex-quarterback that, he's obviously talented, but mentally, is he going to be able to overcome what he did?
Yeah.
Where
Davis Mills is still warming up on the sidelines, thinking he's going in for the second
he
half.
should have been in the game last year.
Absolutely.
But we won't probably find out until the playoffs. So I'm sure it won't affect them in the regular season. Cleveland, and it probably won't even affect them at home. I think it's been the road games in the postseason that have really affected them. Cleveland and Jacksonville.
Houston has done well in their first home games.
Yep.
In the playoffs.
Tampa Bay, Cincinnati would be a good week one game.
Although I think last year I think Houston won at Pittsburgh in their first game because they were the wild card, not the division winner last year, Houston.
This is interesting with Cincinnati. I mean, they have improved, obviously, their defense. Tampa Bay is not being well regarded this year for a number of reasons, losses in personnel and stuff. And, of course, they did they ended last year horrible.
Yeah.
Joe Burrow is going to be very tough this year.
If he stays healthy.
And they've got one of those easy schedules.
Yes.
So watch out for the Bengals.
You think about that division. I mean, what do we know about Baltimore? New coach, all that stuff. And
3 of the 4 teams in that division will have new head coaches, and Cincinnati will not. And that's going to be an advantage again, right there for the Bengals, who are right now considered the second choice. Only, I think the Ravens are like minus 125 in the division.
Yeah, I think
the
Cincinnati's
Bengals
plus 210.
Yeah, so they're pretty close as well. They should be, but again,
I like the Bengals.
You got a rookie coach.
Baltimore. Honestly, I favor the Cincinnati Bengals to win that division.
Yeah, I'm with you.
I spoke with John Sheeran, who covers the Bengals for A to Z Sports NFL on the Our Football Network yesterday. So good conversation with him regarding that. Because not only did they add in Dexter Lawrence, they signed one of the top safeties on the free agent market, Brian Cook, to go along with the fact that both of their corners last year, Turner and Hill, stayed healthy for the first time and both played their best football. So that secondary now looks like it's in the best shape it's been in years. And now you've added Dexter Lawrence up front. Their first pick overall, which was in the second round, went to an edge rusher. Their first round pick last year was an edge rusher. And then, of course, they signed Bo Maffei from Seattle to make up for the loss of
Hendrickson going to the Ravens, that's no longer the distracting issue that it was contract-wise for a good part of last year. And I think the Bengals, did one of the best jobs in the offseason because we said last year they needed to address the defense, and they finally did it very, very nicely this year.
Yeah, but they're going to have a lot of trouble on offense. It's going to be hard to keep them under 35.
Yeah. Exactly.
That won't be their problem. That'll be somebody else's problem.
Robert Saleh tries to get his revenge week 1 against the Jets. Robert Saleh.
Yeah.
Washington and the Philadelphia Eagles.
Greg, you were not allowed to talk about the Jets.
Did I?
I
just moved on.
You said the names. The name.
Oh, okay. Washington and the Eagles. And, respectful line here. 5.5 at home.
Yeah, both teams are somewhat of a surprise. I like Washington if the quarterback Daniels is healthy. Philadelphia, I've got some concern about this being an aging team now.
And, of course, A.J. Brown will get traded.
Yep.
It's just a matter of a few more weeks. So, more than likely, he'll get traded. And it could be the New England Patriots. So, you got to keep that in mind. So, see, that's what the Patriots need, another distraction.
Yeah.
So, that's exactly what A.J. Brown will be.
Well, if you're gonna have distraction, you might as well have them all in 1 year.
Yeah. Probably so, especially after losing the Super Bowl. Just get it over with, and then you'll be fine in 2027.
And at least it's a distraction not involving a player. Well, AJ a little bit, but the coach has a bigger distraction. But at least the one, with AJ Brown, if you get him the ball, he'll be happy.
This looks like the biggest line of the week.
Yeah.
11.5 week 1. Wow.
And the Chargers just got healthy with the signing of that tight end the other day.
David Njoku.
Yeah. One of Cleveland's best players.
Here's a good one in the NFC North. Green Bay and Minnesota. We'll find out about the new quarterback for Minnesota.
To me, that's the most difficult of the week 1 games to handicap.
And Green Bay did not have a good offseason.
No.
So
that's a division. That's a division home dog. It's a guarantee. It's just automatic.
Raiders and Dolphins. Wow.
This is a turn off early.
This would be like just like the Tennessee matchup with that team from New York. That'll probably be the 2 biggest marquee games of the weekend.
2 teams with new coaches.
Mendoza won't be in that game.
2 teams with new coaches and new quarterbacks.
Dallas is the short favorite here on Sunday Night Football
Another divisional home dog.
I spoke with RJ Ochoa yesterday from bloggingtheboys.com, and there's an awful lot of excitement finally in Dallas as far as the fans are concerned regarding what the team did. They don't normally have a good offseason. And
they had one of the best this year. Is that what he told you?
Yeah, they had a very good draft.
I see some projections that they're going to win 13 games.
I don't know about that, but I guess. But what's their schedule here? Let's see.
I mean, how many games are they going to be an underdog in?
Well, I don't have their schedule in front of me.
Yeah.
So
that was the comment that this one analyst said they're going to be they'll be favored in 13 or more games.
Well, let's see.
I mean, that doesn't mean they're going to win, but
I see them. The only one division game I can see them underdogs at Philadelphia.
After the Giants, they got Washington. Then there's Baltimore's 1.
That's at home.
Yep. Still an underdog.
We'll probably have lines out by Monday or Tuesday.
Baltimore cannot be favored at Dallas.
I wouldn't think so.
Oh yeah. No.
Yes.
That cannot be. That's not possible.
Lamar Jackson?
Oh, come on.
Dak Prescott?
No.
All right. Let's see what happens.
Prescott had one of the best passing years of any quarterback last year.
Well, let's see what happens.
Why is?
I'm not telling you who I think the better team is. I'm just saying that.
I don't know. Why is Jackson considered better than Dak Prescott?
You're kidding me, right?
No, I'm serious.
He won 2 NFL MVP awards.
What do you do in the playoffs?
I don't like Lamar Jackson.
No.
I can't stand the guy. So I'm not backing him. I'm just giving you the reasons why.
Baltimore was a team. Yeah, Baltimore was a team that went 8-9 last year. That's what got Harbaugh fired. And including in that 8-9 was that last game of the season where if they beat Pittsburgh, they win the division. I think Baltimore's a team on the decline.
It's quite possible.
And their defense last year.
They're minus.
And they have a new unproven coach.
Yeah. If they were, but again, if Vegas felt that way, why are they minus to win the division?
Because they probably know that Lamar Jackson has a better chance of staying healthy all season than this Joe Burrow.
No, I don't know. Whatever. Let's just move on. Because when are you saying these lines are going to come out soon, even for week 3?
I think some places over the weekend will probably have lines for the entire 18 weeks.
Okay, cool.
These play with the offshore, with the FanDuel and the DraftKings, which have basically become the major sports wagering markets nationwide, if not worldwide, but certainly nationwide. They want to get things out as early as possible. I think they put out their first NFL season win totals about 3 weeks after the Super Bowl for this year, knowing who the teams were going to play home and away, but not knowing the sequencing that we learned last night. But more and more places are putting out these advanced lines, and I think I've talked about it before. You could put out a line for week 11 right now. They usually in the past have put them out over the summer in July and August. Put them out now because the book's guess at what the line will be in November for that game is just as good as my guess as what the line will be. If I think there's an advantage, I'll bet it. If I don't, I won't. But the point is, regardless of whether I bet it or not, the book has the 11-10 edge against me and any other one who makes it in a time of the year where there is the greatest uncertainty because nothing's happened yet on the playing field.
So this is a tough 3-game stretch. You got Baltimore, Houston on the road, Tampa Bay at home, Green Bay on the road. That's a tough 4-game stretch, 5-game stretch. Eagles on the road.
Yeah.
Then they got an easy one. We have no idea what the Colts are going to be like. It all depends on the health of Daniel Jones.
I would think Dallas will be favored in that one on the road.
To start week 1, possibly, but by week 9, maybe not.
No, I'm saying that come week 9, if these teams play the way that we're expecting, and I'm expecting good things out of Dallas this year. I would think that Dallas.
And if Daniel Jones is healthy,
the Colts will be maybe 6-3. Dallas will be.
And they'll be at home.
8-1, 9 or
8-1.
Or 7-2.
Wow! Holy crap! Somebody's high on the Cowboys. That's right. You put a future bet on.
Played them at 35-1. Yeah.
All right. San Francisco.
And that was before.
That's a tough
that was
one.
before the draft. Yeah. Where's that against? Where's the San Francisco game?
Home.
Yeah, that'll be a competitively priced game.
Easy one there. Wow. Tough one there. Very tough one there.
Well, they should be favored at home against the Eagles, not on the road like we had a few weeks, 3 weeks earlier. At Seattle, they'll probably be underdogs.
Probably. Then there's another tough one on the road.
Rams will be favored.
Then there's another tough one at home.
They'll probably be favored over Jacksonville. Should be favored over the
week
Giants.
1.
What do you mean week 1?
Week 1 next week. You think they're going to be favored against Jacksonville in week 16?
Well,
yes.
Let's stop here.
Wow.
What are the projected win totals for Jacksonville and the Cowboys?
Let's see. I think the Cowboys were 10.5. Let's see.
I don't know if it was that high.
9.5.
I think
it's either 9.5, 10.5. Again, these are different on here. That's why.
Yeah.
Let's see. Where is it?
Futures.
Yeah, probably. Okay.
Wins. There you go. NFC East. Okay,
9.5.
Let's stop right there. 9.5 is the one that is closer to Pick'em. Minus 130 plus 110. And when we say Jacksonville, AFC South, they're probably about the same.
No, they got to be more than 9.5. Jacksonville.
Let's see.
9.5.
9.5. Yeah.
Wow, they're not really respecting Jacksonville.
Actually, 8.5. Well, 8.5 is closer to Pick'em.
Very strange that they're not respecting Jacksonville.
Well, I can understand them respecting Jacksonville, but I think comparing to Dallas, I could make the case that Jacksonville should have a higher number based upon the division, because when you look at the NFC East, Washington, the Giants, and the Eagles are all going to be pretty good playoff contending type teams. If they, again, health is always the thing there with the improvements that the Giants made, and Washington, of course, was in the conference championship game 2 years ago, as opposed to the AFC South, where you have to think Tennessee is going to be of the 8 teams in the NFC East and the AFC South, Tennessee is the weakest of the 8, and I would argue that the Colts are probably the second weakest team of the 8. Or certainly on a level with maybe Washington or the Giants.
Remember, they were what? 8-1 when Daniel Jones was healthy.
Right.
So I'm not just going to discount the Colts because they crumbled without him at the end of the season.
I think Dallas had a pretty good offseason.
Very good offseason. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And if you're going to make Jacksonville the favorite at Dallas, I think you're going to get hammered.
Well, no, they're not going to get favored now. I didn't think they'd be 9.5. I didn't realize that they were going to disrespect the Jags like this. They won 8 games to end the season.
Then Greg. Then it gets down to who you play, the strength of schedule, the teams you're playing. Because it's not equal. It's not equal. What's the season win total for Dallas is what, 8.5, 9.5?
No, they're both 9.5.
Yeah.
Both 9.5.
So they're both pretty much, which leads me to believe that yes, the Cowboys should be favored at home.
Yeah, because they do have much stronger people in their division that they have to play. And then
what are the 4 teams win totals other than Dallas? The other 3 teams in the NFC East. How much of a gap there is? Philadelphia's probably, I don't know, 10.5 maybe for the Eagles.
Giants are 7.5.
Yeah, 7.5 is the closest to pick 'em.
Eagles are 10.5.
10.5. Yeah, that'd be right.
And Washington is 7.5.
Yep, 7.5. Yeah.
So Dallas is a second choice in that division.
Let's see where they have the Colts.
That's much, much stronger than Jacksonville's facing.
Colts, I'm going to say, would be maybe 7.5.
8.5, 7.5, even.
No, minus 130. 7.5 would be.
Yeah, but they're plus 125.
Yeah, the smallest line there.
So yeah, there again.
I'm saying the game closest to pick 'em is the game with the smallest.
I couldn't touch the Colts because you don't know if Daniel Jones
not knowing
is
Daniel
healthy.
Jones. Yeah,
he's never healthy. Okay, so let's get back to there weren't many left as far as the games in week 1. We had the Cowboys. That was the Sunday night game, and then we conclude with the Denver Chiefs as a short-priced favorite at home against the defending champion West Broncos.
If you believe that Patrick Mahomes will be healthy for week 1, lay the 2.5 right now. On the other hand, we also don't know the status of Bo Nix, who got injured in that playoff game last year.
True.
Yeah, I think Nix is definitely considered ahead of him. But yeah, it'd be hard to believe.
They had another comment from Andy Reid yesterday, who continues to marvel at the pace and progress that
there's nothing about Patrick Mahomes. When they said Patrick Mahomes was injured and they said the timeline, I didn't believe it. I know you don't believe it with these guys. They're superstars. Superstars don't follow the same timelines. So none of this to me.
A guy like Mahomes works as hard as any player in the NFL as his training.
Yeah, there's just no way.
Routine.
This is not, to me, and I know he's going to say it, but I'm sorry, this doesn't shock me.
Who had the best offseason? Additions, subtractions?
I like what the Bengals did. I like what the Cowboys did. I like what the Raiders did.
I'm talking about between those two teams, Denver and Chiefs.
Oh, Denver didn't do anything.
Chiefs did pretty well, especially getting that, was it McDuffie from the
well, the Chiefs
he made from McDuffie to the Rams.
Yeah, the Chiefs got the MVP of the Super Bowl. And that running game is going to give Patrick Mahomes something that he has not had since
for a few years.
I mean, he's never had this type of running back ever.
How did they do on the offensive line?
Nothing.
Yeah, that's a concern.
So they kind of feel like they're okay. I mean, they're rolling the dice with what they have as of today. But that is definitely a concern. And even though Rashee Rice is going to be back, that's a story for another day, an in-depth story for another day. Because you know how intense I was last year with him, and then he goes ahead and gets in trouble again, and then once again, and then he gets a pass again. It's disgusting.
Usually there's something positive to be said about consistency, but not that kind.
Yeah, pretty much. That's what he is. But that's the thing. They haven't really had a stable enough receiving core as well. Because remember, when Patrick Mahomes was so dangerous those first couple of years is because they had a dangerous downfield game with Tyreek Hill.
Yep.
They haven't had that since he left.
They also gave him enough time on the offensive line to throw deep.
Yeah. And here,
they don't have that now.
This guy's got to get better. He's a first-round draft pick last year. Their inside game should be fine, but Jalen Moore, he's going to have to start the entire year. That's a big question. Even though they gave him a lot of money last offseason, but that was, I think, to be like a big swing, not necessarily a starter for 17 games. But I mean, defensively, they still don't have a legitimate edge rush. I mean, Karlaftis is now their top edge rusher. So that's why they used up these two high draft picks, because Woods is a really good interior pass rusher and Thomas is basically a situational pass rusher. So they're going to have to hope these two rookies come through. And then you mentioned losing they lost two defensive backs. So that's why they drafted Delane first, and then they added this kid in the 4th round. I mean, this kid's going to be good, but he's a rookie. Yeah. But he's going to be good. I don't understand this situation here at all. They have Miami's nickelback from 2024, who was injured all of last year. And he was just an average player for the Dolphins. And he got injured all last year and they signed him. And then there's no way. I'm sorry. I know that we have it on this depth chart here, but I cannot believe that they're expecting this guy to start at nickel. I just can't. That's why they spent a 4th-round draft pick here.
Wow.
But they didn't do a whole lot else besides.
Well, that's why we have
picks.
to wait and see what happens over this summer when a lot of these jobs and depth charts are going to be a little bit more. A lot of these are maybe expectations, but not necessarily projections.
Well, at least we know there's only about 10 more impact free agents left in the market. So you're going to have to make a trade. And most of those guys are all old veteran players.
Or have an eye on some young guys who may have been undrafted and now signed with teams and will be released during training camp.
Yeah, but they're not going to be a major impact.
We don't know that. It's amazing how some teams have a poor track record of evaluating talent. Other teams have an excellent track record.
Well, the best chance they'll have is if a veteran, like a good veteran, like Tre'Davious White with the Bills last year. If somehow a player like that is still available, maybe a team cuts him because they don't want to pay him, and then because even White, I mean, his season last year was incredibly good for someone that had not played well for like 5 years.
Yep.
So
Chiefs are 15-1. What do you think about 15-1 for the Chiefs?
I don't know.
Do you consider this a bargain, or do you consider this?
To win the division or to win the
championship?
Super Bowl. I think that's a little bit of a short price because it's still an aging team. We saw it in 2024 when they won all those close games. Didn't cover many of them, but won them all. And last year things fell apart because the close games that they won in 2024 they lost in 2025. Kelsey's a year older.
Who do you think the best AFC team is?
I would say the Chargers. What they did last year with that offensive line, the fact that they managed to win, 10 games and make the playoffs, great job by Harbaugh in his second year.
Yeah, the only thing with the Chargers is they're, again, we've got to see Herbert.
Yeah.
And it wasn't his fault last year with the offensive line in the condition it was in, and I get it. I agree with you. I think the Chargers should be up there. They haven't done it before, but I agree with you. They should be one of the teams. But I still think Cincinnati. I just think that their offense is so good, and they got a quarterback that is money in the playoffs, and all that defense has to do is be average.
I think they have an easier road to the playoffs. And
they do have, they do.
Than the Chargers, absolutely.
Yeah, they're not in that West.
Tell me, what do you think about what Houston?
I like Buffalo.
I'm going to switch gears here. Go to a different division. Houston. My feeling was last year, Houston had one of the best defenses I've seen in years. I think the coach made a terrible mistake in the playoffs.
Wasted that defense because the defense played well even in the playoffs to a great extent.
When Stroud was milking his, still back on his baby bottle and crying to himself in that game, he definitely needed to change quarterbacks. He did not do that. He basically protected the mentality of Stroud instead of playing for the team and the city of Houston. That was a huge coaching decision that was wrong, and nobody even talks about it, but it was.
Maybe Greg knows. What was there any feedback in Houston after that their elimination that D'Amico Ryans was stubborn?
I thought the coach made a horrible mistake there.
Yeah, there were fans that were definitely feeling like we thought they should feel. No question about it. How much they did really.
Let's talk about that defense. What has happened to that defense since that game?
They're still the same really tough
defense. Who did they lose? Who did they gain?
No, they haven't. Look, all you have to, let's see. I'll go officially. Just take a look at who they lost on defense. So officially, let's see. Keeps going down here. See if we see anybody that is worthwhile. I don't see anybody yet. Keep going. Don't see anybody. Don't see anyone. Don't see anyone. They didn't lose anybody.
Okay. We still think Stroud is a starter.
Definitely. It's not even a debate.
Okay. Well,
who's the back? Who are the backups there? Is it just Davis Mills?
They got the other young kid, Graham Mertz.
Oh, okay.
But
Fred Mertz?
he's the guy. No, Fred. That's his long great
grandfather.
Yeah. And he's not as tall. But he played at Florida. Went to Wisconsin.
Yeah.
Actually, he was. I thought he was overrated his first 3 years in Wisconsin. When he first came in, there was all this talk about he's like the best quarterback prospect Wisconsin's had ever.
They kept running the ball.
No, he just never got to the point where he lived up to that type of player. So then he leaves, goes to the Gators, and that very first year, he had his best season ever as a player. He had like an incredible interception ratio. Like, he does not turn the ball over. Interesting player, not a player that
if I remember, Greg, when he was at Wisconsin, wasn't he playing for a team that was still geared around the running game?
Yeah, because that was right now we're talking 5 years ago.
Yeah. So, I mean, I won't say he was doomed to fail, but it was certainly made more difficult to succeed.
Yeah, he was not under a passing offense. Correct.
Yeah.
He did not have like a quarterback guru or anything like that as an assistant coach. But Houston did add David Montgomery, so now they have a better running game.
Yeah.
And that's the whole idea. They want to take a lot of pressure now off for CJ Stroud, so they run the ball more. And look, when you had Woody Marks as your number one rusher, a rookie, you're going to throw the ball a lot more than you really should. And that's what they were doing.
Yeah.
So they run the ball more. Their offensive line is getting better. Last year it got a little bit better. This year it should be even better. They drafted
decent receivers.
The division,
the
division they're in is not that tough. Why shouldn't they win that division?
They probably will.
It depends upon whether or not the great improvement Jacksonville made last year, especially in developing Trevor Lawrence at quarterback, and the first-year head coach in Cohn, who came over from a great career at Tampa Bay. We saw Tampa Bay slide a little bit last year. Can they repeat that, or was just that a one-year illusion? But I do like the Jacksonville's defense.
Earlier, we talked about how difficult Jacksonville schedule and everything has been kind of stacked.
The road games.
There's nothing really. They didn't help them at all. So they're going to have a pretty tough road. I think Houston, personally, I thought Houston was the best AFC team last year. Had Stroud even woke up from milking his baby bottle in that game. And they would have been much tougher in that Super Bowl.
Jim, you may be absolutely right, and it all comes down to the quality of play they get out of the quarterback, Stroud. Because yes, they have a championship caliber defense,
and they
have enough on offense to take.
I've heard a couple quarterbacks that have played the game for many years saying how difficult it's going to be for him to regain the confidence of the clubhouse. They're very concerned that he actually hit a wall. He and believe me, I played some professional things, and I've seen people hit walls, and he hit a wall.
Yeah.
So can he bounce back? I don't know that. I can't predict that.
Greg, didn't he play at Ohio State?
Yes.
Stroud. Ohio State is not known for developing, I'll say, even really good quarterbacks.
Yeah, Stroud, his first couple of years, and I remember Stroud lost both of his starts to Michigan, and that was the fans did not appreciate that. Matter of fact, it was a big deal because he would lose all the big games, and then in his after the Michigan game, and he goes to I think what was that year? I think they played that first semifinal against Georgia or something like that, and they lost a real close game. And he had a tremendous game. It was like the fans were wondering, where does this guy come? All these Michigan games, you couldn't do this. You finally have the best game you've ever had in your career, but it was a high-scoring game, and he lost the game. And then, of course, the rest is history. He goes to the draft and has a great year as a rookie. But
since that great year as a rookie,
yep.
What has happened?
Yeah, I think a lot of it has to do with he's been harassed with a bad offensive line early in his career. So even when he was good as a rookie, that offensive line was not very good. And he also has had a couple of injuries. Remember, he was out for almost a month last year.
Yeah.
Mills he won all of his starts, I think, right? Mills? What was
I
Mills like
believe he may
3-0,
have-
something like
Yeah,
that?
3-0 or 3-1. I don't recall.
So so that's the thing. Remember, he's still young, and I think he's very fortunate. He's not in a big market. I'll tell you that much. So we'll see. I mean, remember, he's got a regular season. This is not like he's going to start in the postseason. He's got months to get confidence going again.
I wonder about the same thing applies to Drake May after his situation in the playoffs where he had very little protection, and we saw it in the Super Bowl. Seattle take great advantage of that. Is he going to be able to recover as well? Will the offensive line be better this year for the Patriots?
Here's Houston's schedule. So they start with Buffalo and then Cincinnati at home.
Both are winnable games.
The Colts on the road.
Winnable.
Dallas at home. So this is a tough start so far. Then they get the cupcake.
Yeah.
Then they go at Jacksonville. Giants and the Chargers.
That's a tough schedule they've got all the way up there so far.
Here comes cupcake again. Colts and the Ravens at home.
Yeah.
Schedule easier now. Pittsburgh, Washington on the road, Jacksonville, Eagles on the road, Packers on the road, Tennessee at home.
That is not an easy schedule.
Not at all.
But again, remember, based on last year's win percentage, they have the 7th easiest schedule. So,
Yeah, but again, I don't. Those numbers are nice because people can understand them, but they don't carry a great deal of relevance unless the teams play this year the way that they played last year and come up with similar records, and that's almost never the case in about 75% of the teams. There'll be at least a 2-game variation from what they did last year.
So, and again, remember, Jacksonville's got a tougher schedule. So,
yeah, it's a first-place team, sure.
Well, I'm just talking about all the craziness that they have to go through.
Oh,
so
yeah,
that's a tougher schedule.
Yeah.
So, I think Houston will be fine. I think Stroud will be fine in the regular season. I don't think he's going to play poorly.
Well, he's got more, getting a guy like Montgomery there in the backfield, that's got to help a lot. I like the receivers.
Thanksgiving, we're going to have our first Thanksgiving Eve game. That's right. Thanksgiving Eve. It's going to be Green Bay and the Rams.
I'm gonna have to head out at 11, guys, just to let you know.
So that's Green Bay and the Rams on Thanksgiving Eve. So that's a really good one. And then on Thanksgiving Day, we've got the Eagles at the Cowboys, the Bears at the Lions, and the night game is the Chiefs and the Bills.
Wow.
Yep.
That's a hell of a...
It's a great Thanksgiving.
That,
and then you had the Wednesday game as well.
That'll be a hell of a day for the Survivor thing.
Yeah. Well, now you got the Wednesday game in there as well.
Yeah. So they got an extra game.
And then, of course, the Friday game.
And remember I said the 3 teams that have the 3-game road trips, Jacksonville, Cleveland, and the Chiefs. Well, just so you know, the Chiefs, their 3-game road trip will be weeks 12 to week 14 when they play the Bills, the Rams, and the Bengals.
Wow.
Yep.
All on the road in consecutive weeks. So
they can lose all 3 of those.
They absolutely could. Absolutely. Okay. So did you have anything new, by the way, Andy, regarding, again, I know you got the Cowboys.
Yeah, I haven't done anything since we last spoke.
Okay.
That might change next week at this time because I am giving a good look to some of the adjustments in some of those futures and win totals over the weekend.
Yeah, well, I think
I'm going to predict Houston wins their division and gets to the playoffs. I'm just hoping that their head coach gets his head out of where and start to do a good job. But I'm not too sure about Stroud.
Yeah. Last year was the year for Houston to really, I think, take advantage of that defense, especially with teams like Kansas City not in the playoffs, Baltimore not in the playoffs. So 2 of the 3 teams, along with Buffalo, weren't in the playoffs last year. That was a perfect situation for Houston, which by far had the best defense in the conference, if not in the entire league. That was the year for them to make their move in the playoffs. And going up against the New England team that was off of 2 4-win seasons and made the playoffs by winning the AFC East. So they had a lack of experience with a very young quarterback. So last year, we can't beat it to death too much, but What did D'Amico Ryans have to lose by pulling an ineffective quarterback and turning it over to a rookie who had 4 or 5 games of experience during the regular season and fared well?
That, I guess we will never know, but it kind of looked like he was worried about damaging Stroud's confidence instead of worrying about the team's winning.
Yeah,
and I think
you don't necessarily get that chance every year. When you are in position to win a championship, you put your best foot forward. You should not worry about confidence for next year or the year after, because you may not be in that same situation the next year or the year after. You have to live in the here and now.
You're preaching to the choir, Andy.
Well, we'll find out early. We'll see how the team responds. We'll see if they because if he's lost the confidence of his locker room, then we'll find out. I've got to throw in Dallas as a win total of 10 or more at plus 110. So that'll be the one.
I like that. I like that as well.
I'd be very surprised if they couldn't get a few games over 500 with the way the team looks right now.
I think Dallas and Houston both win their divisions.
And they're both at they're both, again, Dallas is about 2-1, and Houston, they are, I think they're about the same thing. Houston,
they're a favorite, I think, in that division, aren't they?
Even money.
Houston's
the
plus
even
125.
So,
no, they're plus 125. Isn't that what you're saying?
I'm just saying it's even. So
okay, yeah.
Houston and Dallas to win the division, Jim?
Yes.
Okay. So Houston and Dallas to win the division. Okay. All right. So before we call it a show, do you guys have any wagers going into the weekend on the NBA playoffs or Major League Baseball?
I have Cleveland tonight.
Oh, so
-4.
Wow, how things have changed.
Yep.
Well,
Detroit did not take advantage of its advantage in Game 5. That was a critical game.
I mean, they were up 9 points with like 2 minutes to go and blew the whole game.
By the way, I think they've met now 6 or 7 times this year. The team that's won the game has covered also in every game up until now. Yeah.
Okay.
They haven't been very big lines, I think, for the most part.
The surprise to me is how Harden played so bad in Game 1 and 2.
Yeah.
And since then, he's not the same Harden he was years ago when he was scoring 50 a game, but give him a break. He's played a lot better. And quite frankly, Detroit's balance on offense is pretty bad. Cade Cunningham can do anything he wants at any time, but the rest of the team is pretty deficient offensively. So I'm looking for Cleveland to win and move on to play the Knicks.
But no cover?
Maybe you have a money line on that? Yeah, money line on that is.
Money line on Cleveland.
What's the money line on that one? -140, -175.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Jim, you're going to do the money line. And Andy, you're going to go 4.5. And again,
the line is, let me put on best screen up here. That line is a solid 4. It is 4.5 on FanDuel and DraftKings, but here in Vegas, it's a solid 4. So,
and you guys don't have anything on this San Antonio, Minnesota game?
I'd like to play Minnesota at home. I think they've got enough talent to keep it a close game. I was on San Antonio laying the big number the other night, and they ended up winning by 20-something, even though Minnesota made a couple of runs. The line, and I think that was the game where I said I might be on San Antonio if the line is no higher than 5. It's up to 5.5 now. That gives me enough of a reason to take a look at Minnesota. I do like their roster. I don't think they win the series. I think San Antonio will force a Game 7.
I do not have a play.
Minnesota will, rather.
I don't have a play.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Taking a look at this was a Tuesday show. Andy, you went. That's right. You had. Okay. So yeah, you had San Antonio 9.5. Okay.
Yeah.
How did the Minnesota Lynx do?
They won.
They upset whoever the team they played. Okay, they went outright.
They were an underdog. They won.
Very good.
Yep.
Okay, so nothing on this game. You got that. Anything on baseball for the weekend?
I just have a few plays for tonight. I like Houston with Arrighetti in their game against Texas. I like the Baltimore-Washington game to go over the total of 9 with the pitching matchup of Boz against, I think, Littell.
You like Houston?
Houston Astros, yeah.
Minus 108?
I believe that's what it is, yeah.
Okay. Over Texas.
I'm showing him at about a pick 'em. Well, and it's between, it's almost a pick 'em, between minus 105 and minus 110.
I'm going to take a dog with White Sox, Chicago White Sox.
They're playing nicely.
Yeah, the White Sox.
I like the way Burke's been pitching also. Yeah, and the
114 against
Baltimore Washington game is a total of 9. Boz and Littell. Both of them have been bad at giving up home runs. I think Littell's given up 14 home runs this year already.
Terrible. So you got Baltimore, Washington over?
Yeah.
That's a good one. It's only 9.5.
It's 9.
It's 9?
Yeah.
Okay.
You see, some of these places are 9. Like, again, FanDuel and DraftKings are 9.5. We can't play them here in Vegas.
Okay. So Baltimore, Washington over 9.
Not according to the game.
Houston over Texas. And Jim, you've got Chicago White Sox to upset the Cubs.
Correct.
Okay. So there you go. We'll be back on Tuesday on the Jim Feist Show. And no NASCAR this weekend. They have the All-Star race.
Andy, if you're ready, you want to do that again on Tuesday?
Tuesday at 10? I should be able to, yeah.
Yes.
And of course, we'll see where we are as far as the NBA playoffs and everything else going on in the world of sports. The Preakness Stakes, of course, is on Saturday. You can check out the preview show that we did the other day. I think it was on Wednesday with John Hordoon. So that's available here at Proline TV. And have a great weekend, everybody. Have a great weekend.
Yeah. Plenty of winners.
Happy weekend.